Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the Charleston AMA and broadcasting from our friends at Charleston Media Solutions Studios. Thanks to our awesome sponsors at CMS, we get to chat with the cool folks making waves in Charleston. From business and art to hospitality and tech, these movers and shakers choose to call the Lowcountry home. They live here, work here, and make a difference here. So what's their story? Let's find out together.
How do we look? We look all right over there?
Wide. I want to go like this.
What now?
Face for we have a face for radio.
I'd say that
We
a lot
do.
about myself, actually.
He does say that about himself.
Hello and welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast. Compton here, co-founder and president of Roombo Advertising, a creative content marketing agency based out of Charleston and Tampa, and your incoming CAMA president. I'm excited to be joined by my co-host, Stephanie. Say what's up, Steph.
What's up, guys? Stephanie here, the founder of Stephanie Barrow Consulting, a digital marketing strategy agency here in Charleston, and one of your CAMA past presidents. There's a couple of us now.
There's a few. There's been a bunch.
There's
been a bunch. Before we introduce our guest, Steph, have you heard of Ranky Tank? Ranky Tanky?
Ranky Tanky.
Ranky Tanky?
100%.
Why am I just now finding out about Ranky Tanky?
So Ranky Tanky is a 2-time Grammy-winning band that is from Charleston.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with them, number one, because I had their lead singer on the Charleston Pops concert last weekend, the North Charleston Pops concert. And they're awesome. Like, bring the house down awesome.
Like, if you want to be in a good mood and, like, be moved and motivated during your day,
oh, yeah.
listen to Ranky Tanky. I just got done.
Sure.
That's why I'm super excited right now.
That's
Can you hear it?
awesome.
Can you hear my
I
excitement?
can hear the excitement. I got lots of videos
Or is
I
it the
can share
coffee?
with you.
Is it the coffee?
I'm digging the
Ranky
vibes
Tanky.
today. He's feeling energetic.
I think, and
people.
also they're coming to town, too.
They've been to town, and they are
There's tickets on sale.
incredible. You should get their tickets.
So anyways, yeah.
They tour nationwide. They're fantastic.
Speaking of talented musicians, we have Ada Pasternak coming into town. She's a kick-ass violinist based out of Nashville.
You introduced me to her, and I was listening to her stuff on Instagram, and you know how I feel about musicians, like especially up-and-coming ones. She is awesome.
So,
I want to invite her to North Charleston Pops concert.
She's going to be on the show, Steph. She's going to be on the show. She's from Nashville, like I
Good.
just said.
I'm going to be schmoozing her and trying to.
Just relax. We just don't fangirl too much. But you're allowed to.
I'll do my best.
You know what? She has a foundation that provides music education and instruments to underprivileged kids who come from abusive and broken homes.
Oh, I love her.
How can you not love that?
I'm obsessed.
So keep an eye out for her episode, listeners. And check her out at Ada, A-D-A, Pasternak, Pasternak.com. Now to our main event. Our main man, the guy everyone speaks highly of. This is true. I've dropped your name a few times, and everybody's like, oh, he's great. So I'm super excited to know why you're so great, Stan. Stanfield Gray. Say what's up, man.
Hey, Mike, what's happening? What's happening, marketers, AMA people? Stephanie, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm excited that you're here.
Yeah.
Stanfield is the founder and CEO of Dig South. Can you talk about that?
That's right. Well, Dig South is the South's tech tribe, is the way we think of it.
Tech tribe.
Also, the South's Tech Summit. So that's how it all began. 13 years ago, we wanted to put together a circus, a playground of tech.
No, I love it.
And think about what it would be like if startup ecosystems in the Southeast in particular could compete with Silicon Valley, Boston, New York, other tech centers, and how would we go about that? So I had a lot of experience in technology and producing events and the music business, put all that together, loosely modeled it on South by Southwest.
Okay.
Got her.
There we go.
There it is.
Hooked.
Ad Age Digital Conference.
Yes.
Web Summit, and thought, let's do this. Let's have it here in Charleston and see what happens.
When is it?
This year, Dig South Tech Summit will be May 1st and 2nd at the Simmons Center for the Arts at College of Charleston.
Nice. Where can you get tickets?
I was curious, is it already sold out?
It is not sold out. We have many, many programs. It's digsummit.com. That's D-I-G summit.com. And it will also anchor the inaugural Charleston Tech Week.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about, if you've never been to a Dig South event, like what do you go in expecting? Is it like all-day seminars and breakout sessions, like speakers,
2 days, 3 days,
networking, all the things?
It's 2 days. We break it down like our 3 C's: content, contacts, and capital.
Cute.
Yeah, it's
That's clever.
Nice, easy box to put everything in as a reference point. On the content side, we have fireside chats, keynotes, workshops, panel discussions around emerging technology, all things related to whether that's health tech, supply chain, marketing, AI, which of course is rippling through the entire economy.
We'll
A
get to
lot
that.
of different
Hard to
topics.
keep up with all the things.
But the core focus is on emerging technology and scalable companies.
Okay.
So that's the bulk of our audience. So the content side, you're there for knowledge and know-how. What am I learning? What am I paying attention to? What should I know in my job? How do I keep up? Do I need to pivot? What do I need to do to keep this business growing and alive? On the contact side, we have a membership community called Dig Nation. So in Dig Nation, we trust. It's always kind of fun to drop that in there. But Dig Nation, we spun that up during the pandemic as a way to keep the audience together. It was events, of course, were some of the slowest to return and come back as a business, and Dig South Tech Summit kind of fell into that category. So Dig Nation emerged and became this great way to keep people in touch year round. So we produce monthly meetups. We have other content going throughout the year. You have a profile, whether that for your company or the individual, in our Dig Nation member network. Today, we're having an event with Ball Harbor at the pop-up called Sip and Shop.
We got one set up for next Wednesday.
Excellent.
Yes.
I went to a salsa event there a week ago. It was awesome.
Was it cool?
It was so fun.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We've got a DJ there, and our members will come out and have a good time. So that's, but back to Dig South. At the summit, that's on the, the contact side. There's people there to build relationships, do business, get deals done.
Okay.
Then the third piece, the capital opportunities. Now, in some cases, those are just people who are bootstrapping. They're learning to make more revenue. They're learning, how to build a better funnel around their marketing channels, what that looks like. But then we have another group of companies that are coming from across the East Coast to pitch at our Wild Pitch during the summit.
Okay.
So they are actively raising funds. We have a VIP investor event for them. We have a startup alley exhibitor space. We have a lot of ways that they can engage, set up office hours with investors. And a shout out to all investors in the community who may, want to come out and kick the tires on some new startups.
I met a few members of the Charleston Angel Investors. Those
Yes,
guys are so nice.
Yeah, so CHAPS or Charleston Angel Partners are sponsoring our Wild Pitch this year.
Of course.
Yeah, they're actively
Oh,
involved.
it's so smart.
Have you partnered with EO at all?
We have. So this year we're working with EO to bring Mike Pollard, who's high level executive coach and all around guru on growing, scaling businesses. He will be giving a workshop keynote at Dig South Tech Summit in partnership with EO Charleston.
Love it.
Great guys to work with.
They are great guys. So my question was going to be: are most of these people local? Or are you bringing talent in from all over the country, or how is this kind of event working?
So our core markets are. Think about a 400-mile circle around Charleston. So Atlanta, Raleigh-Durham, Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, Myrtle Beach, all the way up to D.C., concentrated around Charleston. So most of our attendees come from that geography. And then we have some speakers that come in from New York and Boston and even the West Coast this year and other locations that are part of the lineup. And then we have larger companies that are headquartered elsewhere, but they have representatives that live here working remote or hybrid.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you say Charlotte? Was Charlotte part of that?
Yes, Charlotte's a big part of it.
We're big in Charlotte.
We have a lot of listeners.
We have more listeners in Charlotte than Charleston.
So Juan Garzon, a good friend of mine, is kind of
what's up, Juan? Shout out to Juan.
Juan is the king of the Charlotte startup community. He runs.
Okay.
Let's get on the show.
Pitch Breakfast.
Oh.
And he runs Innovate Charlotte.
Okay.
And he will be our MC for the Dig South Wild Pitch.
Wow.
That's amazing. So this is the 13th year you've done it.
Yes.
How many people do you expect in attendance?
This year our goal is 650.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a big event.
What was last year?
It was about the same. At our peak in 2019.
Right before COVID.
Right before I lost my mind and COVID. Right. We peaked at about 2,000 people.
What are you talking about?
And
that's a lot.
Yeah, which was fantastic. But
too much.
It was also just kind of wasn't as focused, wasn't as concentrated around technology and scaling companies, and it didn't have the membership base. So now we focus around the membership base and growing that.
Notice that.
And connecting those people externally to whatever they need to grow and scale.
Explain that, because I haven't seen that done in the way that you guys are doing it, where you can come to the event,
yes,
but you're going to be a member.
That's right. If you buy a badge, the 2-day all-access badge to Dig South, you get a member profile, and you become a year-round member.
That's interesting.
Cool.
So it comes with it. It's like an all-inclusive thing.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. So, for example,
a good thing we should do for AMA.
There you go.
Just throwing it out.
Yeah. So with
R&D.
With the Harbor Entrepreneur Center, which is where Dig South is headquartered, we're in that beautiful space. We partner closely with Grady Johnson and that organization. So our panel series each month, this series is called Coffee with Closers. Focus.
I heard about that. I want to go.
Which is great.
Yes.
And if you were a Dig South member or you buy a badge at the summit, those events are free. And so they're $20 a month, but you save all of that too by buying the summit badge.
Those are free, you said, too. That's great.
With the badge.
Of course.
And do you have booths and sponsors and that kind of thing so you can kind of like neandrel around and meet people? And
yes. So we do have some exhibitor booths, but it's not really an expo though.
Sure.
It's much more around the content and the summit part of
professional development.
And the pitch pieces. But then we have these great breakout rooms we call lounges. So we have the Startup Demo Lounge sponsored by Nelson Mullins, a law firm. And in that one, founders can set up office hours with investors. They can give a mini 5-minute pitch and to practice or to share whatever they're up to. So I'll have a couple of those lounges. And then we've also partnered this year with Charleston Literary Festival on bringing in author Benjamin Wallace. He's a New York Times best-selling author who's written a book about Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious and mythical founder of Bitcoin.
Okay.
And so he spent 15 years investigating the origin of Bitcoin and trying to find and prove who the founder is.
What book is this called?
It's called, it came out March 16th. He's already a New York Times bestseller, and it's called Finding Mr. Nakamoto. And it's about the mysterious origins of crypto and Bitcoin specifically. So that'll be a really fun deep dive with Charleston Literary Festival. It will be moderated by my friend John Yarian. And in addition to that, we have this whole... So let's say that somebody out there can't afford the whole summit.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are welcome to attend our Upload Charleston event. We have individual tickets for that. We have a mentor matchup with Charleston Women in Tech.
I was going to ask about Charleston Women in Tech.
Yep. So we're very proud to partner with them this year. We're going to do this great mentor matchup. That will be free, but you do have to register. It's limited space. And then the VIP investor event, the Upload Charleston event, the author event. So there are individual events for people who can't attend the 2-day summit.
Cool.
I bet the success stories that come out of this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. Yeah, we had one company raise a $2 million Series B round through meeting an investor at Dig South, which was amazing.
That is amazing.
We had Good Growth Fund launch a $100 million fund at Dig South.
All right.
Wow.
I think that was 2022.
So you got actual investors there ready to put money down on some.
This is like Shark Tank, but in Charleston.
This is
right. Shark Tank in front of a live audience in Charleston. But that's just one facet of it. So one facet are those early stage startup companies. That's probably 15 to 20%. The other 75% of the programs are based around what I would call mid-market or growth stage companies. So let's think 5 million to 50 million in annual recurring revenue or a head count of about 15 to 400, somewhere in that range. So not the giant Fortune 500s and not the back of a napkin early stage startup. The core audience is really in that kind of sweet spot of mid-market companies.
Awesome. That's very cool.
I would love to attend that at some point. That sounds
I know.
Really, really
how
awesome.
How can AMA help? How can we help? I mean, other than this is part of our helping, but
great. Well, we'd love to have this. Of course, is huge. Just being in front of your
Thanks
audience.
For being here. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you want me to run this by you live on the air, but why not? So, Charleston Tech Week, which Dig South will be the anchor for that, has a slew of great organizations that are hosting events and meetups from April 24th through May the 2nd. I was going to pitch to you guys if you'd like to have some type of marketing meetup. Either, it could be a coffee, it could be a lunch, could be whatever makes sense around the schedule. And it can be informal or it could be formal. It could just be, hey, let's meet here and talk about marketing.
Love that idea.
I would love to be part of that. That's
great.
Fantastic.
Yes, we do April 24th through May 2nd.
Yeah.
And let me go through that lineup real quick. So we kick it off with the Charleston Digital Corridors I-5K race.
Shout out to our buddy Ernest.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we interviewed Ernest.
Yeah.
I want to do that 5K.
So Ernest is on board with us and is going to kick off the whole Charleston Tech Week.
Love that.
Fantastic. Yep. Then we've got a cybersecurity meetup with Charleston County Economic Development that's sponsored by Trident Technical College.
Yep.
Love that.
And that'll be in North Charleston, up at Garco. And then moving through the weekend, we've got a bunch of pretty amazing, stellar events, including Disrupt HR. You know, for people who haven't attended that, it's sort of TEDx style.
Yep.
1 million cups.
Yep.
You know, for early stage founders.
Love those.
Then we've got a Charleston Hacks AI Film Festival event.
Ooh,
cool.
Film
Which will be
Fest.
really cool.
That sounds fun.
Yep. So people will make 30-second AI videos.
I'm all into
in
that.
competition.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love this.
So that'll be a lot of fun. And then Reforged Gaming Lounge in North Charleston is having an Innovators and Game Changers night. We come in, talk about gaming, compete in a tournament.
So as in like gamers.
Yes.
That's what I'm envisioning in my head.
Hardcore gamers.
Got it.
Definitely.
We need to invite our boy from Squeeze Marketing, who is a gamer.
He is a gasser.
Gasser is a gamer, and he's got a whole YouTube channel about it. Yeah.
And then Startup Grind will be at Code and Trust.
Okay.
You know, that same week. And then we're peppering in different meetups throughout that in the build up to Dig South on May 1st and 2nd.
Great.
And then, I forgot to mention, we do have 2 very sexy events. So the opening shindig will be in partnership with High Tide Music Festival.
Okay.
And that will be at the Moxie Hotel on Saturday,
I'll be there on
26th.
Sunday.
Cool.
High Tide Festival.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll be partnering with High Tide. We'll have DJs, panels about how to be a DJ, how to be an influencer. It's going to be fun. And then the closing finale will be at the Harbor Club at West Edge.
Yeah.
So the Charleston Tech Week finale will be there.
How are you
May 2nd.
keeping up with all of this? The
I'm
fact that
wondering
you
the
just
size of your team.
streamlessly came out with all of this is very mind-boggling to me. That's impressive.
It is a lot of events, a lot of plates we're spinning in the air. But my background, so when I started in Charleston, when I first moved here.
What year was that?
That was 1998.
From where?
From Mississippi at the time. I was in graduate school at Ole Miss, and then New York before that.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
I was going to say, you no longer have an accent.
I was at Spin Magazine in New York, but I did grow up in Spartanburg.
Spin. Yeah.
And I went
Oh,
to
okay.
That's
Yeah,
a
Spin
shout
is
out.
kind of dead now.
Oh,
you know,
no.
but-
It lives
remember
deep
Spin.
in my heart.
Yeah, I worked at Spin. And,
That's cool. I love that.
So then I rambled around. But when I got here, I worked for the City of Charleston Office of Cultural Affairs. So I ran operations, and we produced 700 events in 17 days.
Whoa. Wait.
Wow.
And get this, the contracts and everything we did were by fax machine.
I can't imagine the counting on that process.
Very few people
Woo!
had email, and bandwidth was terrible.
my
Nobody
gosh.
had a mobile device. You know, I had my first Nokia at that time, I think, around 98.
Yes.
And anyway, it was so yes, Charleston Tech Week will be exciting and big, but we're talking 20 events, not 700.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'm assuming when you show up, you get a schedule of events that you can attend and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's all at charlestontechweek.org.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Hey, Stanfield, where do we go? Where do I have to go for our meetup? Like, what are we doing? Like during that week? Like,
question.
to a
I
certain
don't know.
place,
What
or
do
do we
you
have to
We
make
have
our
to
own place?
powwow
You have to
and
make your
figure it
own
out.
place.
Okay,
Yeah,
copy
yeah.
that. I didn't know if you had a headquarters that we go to, or
No.
if we,
Think of it like a decentralized festival. Charleston Tech Week is like, so each
Sure.
group's producing their event
Okay.
in locations that
We
they've
haven't had a
selected.
coffee talk in a long time.
Yeah.
Well,
could do
they
a
have a
lot-
lot of competing night events,
A lot of yes.
so we have to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah.
Right.
We'll
Yeah,
talk offline.
yeah, that
we'll get,
was-
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
into the weeds.
My
here.
wheels are already turning, though. I'm excited to help.
Super cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure that out. And we have a lot of events that are free at almost every different price point. You know, so there's probably 5 or 6 that are no charge. There's another 5 or 6 that are about $25, all the way up to the full, VIP all access badge for Dig South.
Right.
My gosh. So that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But wait, there's more, Stephanie. Listeners, you don't know this, do you? But he's also the CEO of MoveFlow, which we'll talk about here. I want to know more about that. And a reseller of Strolid and an Aspen Liberty Fellow. Let's start with the Aspen Liberty. What does that mean?
Yeah, what
How do
does
you
that
become
mean?
an Aspen Liberty Fellow?
So South Carolina is very fortunate that it has its own fellowship called the Liberty Fellowship, and it is affiliated with the Aspen Institute or the Aspen Fellowship. Okay. And so it is a very, very unique fellowship where they select people on every side of the political spectrum.
Okay.
And like in my group, the Attorney General was part of it. Alan Wilson at the time, many other people who worked in business and politics and government. and you have common readings, and then you show up and you hash this stuff out. So you debate and you try to reach common ground and think about what would it look like if we actually solved this problem instead of being like, oh, you've got a D by your name, you've got an R by your name. Let's fight.
I love this.
Oh my.
So you're just basically in a room together having these like pivotal conversations.
Yes. So for 2 years, you meet multiple times at those sessions. You have a moderator that's sanctioned or trained by the Aspen Institute. You have the common readings, and then you go on a global trip where you meet people from all over the world that are in other fellowships. And so the idea is, how do we really find common ground, talk about these things,
share ideas,
and get out of the WWE wrestling ring and actually solve something.
So is the end goal to implement something after these retreats?
Yes. So good question. So everybody does have a project that they work on individually, and mine was tech related at the time.
Weird.
Strange, right? and some of them are nonprofits, some are for-profits that are solving different societal issues. And you report out on that. And some of them continue to this day. There are people who build companies around the project that grows out of the fellowship.
So how did you start? Like, what, you just decided to become involved in this, or did
Charleston
someone call you?
You have to be nominated.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my nomination.
Yeah, my good friend John Warner nominated me for that many years ago. Super lucky.
Nice.
And then you go through a process where it takes you interview, and it takes a couple of years, and I didn't get in the first year, and the second year you interview again, and they build a class that they call the Mosaic. And so the idea around the Mosaic is picking very different kinds of people, different ethnicities, different religions, different political persuasions. And so they're very intentional about how they build a class.
Why do I assume it's male only?
What? No.
Why did my
50-50?
chauvinist head? Why did my male chauvinist brain?
Yeah, I'm not answering that question, Mike.
Nope.
That's silly, right? Aspen Liberty Fellow. I love that.
Yeah, it's a remarkable organization.
Good. So men and women, anybody.
Anybody.
Yes,
You're
that was my point.
High functioning man.
High functioning. Well,
functioning.
Move Flow. What's Move Flow? Talk about that.
Move Flow. So with Move Flow, our tagline is move smarter, flow faster, and make more revenue, or basically produce more profits. So the idea there is
everybody's into that.
Yeah, MoveFlow is an AI-powered company that builds synthetic models around traffic, transportation, and humans. Anything that moves in a physical environment.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so the idea is, let's say Johns Island traffic is terrible.
Right.
And you want to put in a new exit ramp, or a fork, or a developer wants to put in a new large housing complex. Okay. We have a model that we can input all of the data sets around that, everything from Department of Transportation data to census data, microcensus data, camera feeds, and tell you what's going to happen what it will be the impact of that build out the day it opens. And so with about 92% degree of accuracy, we can model that. And then you can say, wait, what if I move the entrance over here? Well, it's all cloud-based, AI-powered. We can change the model almost instantly with the new input and say, well, if you move it over there, traffic's going to be 20% better or 30% worse.
Wow.
This is like a constant topic of conversation in my household because my husband is a civil engineer, and he works a lot on the board of the Department of Transportation and all the things. We're constantly talking about, if everyone just was in Teslas or whatever, we would have none of these issues. And that's cool. That's really neat.
What are you talking about? Teslas, and what do you mean?
Cars that you drive. You just get in and you sit there and they're driving for you, and you don't have to drive.
Because they're automatic driving.
They're automatic driving cars, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Google's Waymo is already driving around Atlanta and New York and Miami, and very successfully, a lot safer than human drivers.
No kidding.
When the time comes, I am here for it. I just want to sit.
I'm all in. It's coming, right, Stephanie?
It's coming. It's coming, and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Well, because of human error. You know what I mean?
Because of human error. Cell phones, scared of the little bit of rain in Charleston, that kind of thing.
Oh, my gosh.
Just it's raining. Now it's 45 minutes to go 10 miles. I'm like, come on.
We're communists. We're not communists. We're communists. You can tell.
Yeah, we're not communists.
No beignets.
We love it here, though, right?
Yeah, we do.
love
I mean, today's weather is amazing.
That's really cool. So how do you keep up with everything you have?
Hold on, I'm not done yet. What about Stroll It? This is
okay.
More.
That's what I'm saying.
So
it's got more
with
Stroll
It, they're just a partner. I'm a reseller with that company, but it is a brilliant technology. So Stroll It, the guys are from Boston, strong and solid. Stroll It. right? So I love it. And,
easy to remember.
Yeah. And they built a technology platform that powers like Carvana, CarMax, car dealers.
Ooh, okay.
And it is a call center software. Then they invented a new internet protocol called a VCON, or virtual conversation.
Yes.
It's run through a piece of software called a conserver that wraps in a packet so that it is compliant with all privacy issues. And then you can extract all the data and info out of it you want. So let's say all the car dealers in New Jersey can't figure out why the blue Corvette isn't selling.
Okay.
But it is selling in Ohio. And it is selling to people who are 22 years old, 30 years old. So we can get all of that out of the emails, the phone calls, the SMS, et cetera, and help predict and determine, solve the problem around the sale.
So are dealerships buying this data from you?
Yes. So dealerships buy a subscription to that. It's a SaaS model. And now we're spinning that out into other industries. So I am working with Strala to introduce them to people, primarily call centers, but it can be anybody with a high volume of calls.
You should really go after the home services.
Home services.
Oh,
I
right.
say
There's
that.
so
I
many
work
home
with a lot of
services
them
around here.
because, like, for instance, I
They
work
have a
with
budget,
an
but-
HVAC client, and you're like wondering, like, okay, why is someone comfortable paying this price for this model, not for this? And then you look at the data across. That would be very successful for you.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
and those guys will be at Dig South this year. So they are coming.
kidding.
Yeah, they're coming.
That
I
is
gotta
neat.
go to this.
That is neat.
Amazing. So you've got all of these full-time jobs? Like, what do you
Spinning lots of plates.
So-
lots of plates? Like,
A lot of plates. So, in my world, and among many startups who are our members and attendees, et cetera, everyone has 2 or 3 side hustles.
multiple.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're it is very tough. You do have to focus and
Correct.
concentrate for one of them to be successful. But there's also a tremendous amount of mission creep and excitement because we're constantly talking to people who are launching and scaling and doing something. And every day I'm like, wow, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
For me, Dig South Tech Summit and Charleston Tech Week are the core focus, the love of my life, so to speak, outside of my beautiful wife, Sunny, of course, and my kids.
Of course.
And then, but with, those are the core focus. MoveFlow is a startup. So we're working on our product market fit and the MVP. I've got 2 partners in that. One lives in Berlin, our CTO. The other lives in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, works for the Oak Ridge Lab.
Okay.
And they're both PhDs in transportation and population data
Of
management.
course.
And so we are spinning that up now, and it's going very well. And then in the case of Stralid, because of the nature of a 13-year network of Dig South, I have 3 or 4 different reseller referral agreements with companies where we partner, and I'm with the client. I say, you know what, their product could really help you. What do you think? And I refer that, and they do the same for me. And they say these people should, sponsor Dig South or attend or be a part.
Right.
It all kind of overlaps in obviously in the tech world and
Right.
even in the AI, especially in the AI world too. Right?
I am very careful about any new project, and the ones that you just named, they do overlap very strategically.
Yeah.
So they're a lot of the same audience, the same people, same kind
Same
of
staff working on these things?
yes, in our case. So Mel Trong is on my team, and she is handling business. She's our partnership director.
What's up, Mel?
Yep, Mel is amazing. Also a person who can spin a million plates. Carrie Glasscock is incredible, our producer we've had for many years. So she's handling a lot of the nuts and bolts of executing on the events. And then my wife is still involved, Sunny Gray, the marvelous woman that I made a
Sunny
living
Gray, I love
paradox.
Sunny
that.
Gray, that is a cool
You
name.
did that, right? You did that.
Right, so I made her a living paradox. But Sunny, only jumps in as needed with Dig South. She launched her own very successful gift box company called Essentially Charleston.
Of course you did.
Yeah, and that's
Stephanie's heard of it.
Yes, he knew I had heard of it. I have clients in Boston, and I send them stuff from your wife.
amazing.
Oh,
So
didn't
she
know
has
that.
she has over 200 local vendors, everything from Callie's biscuit mix to
Yes.
joggling
Yeah.
boards and honey. And
You would be surprised how much
crazy.
the people in Boston love Callie's biscuit mids and those Benny wafers. They think about that stuff, and they're like, "Is it Christmas time? I want my Benny wafers." I'm like, "Okay, they're coming."
I think Sunny sells 1 million Benny wafers a year.
They
It's
are
crazy.
Charleston staple. Yeah,
It is really remarkable.
it is
Yeah.
cool. What a cool business they built too.
Yes. So that if anyone needs a gift any time of year, essentially charleston.com.
Yep,
Nice.
that is wild.
Perfect. So you guys
I love
aren't
this
busy at all.
community.
How many kids do you have? You said plural?
We have 2. Yes. My daughter Stella is at the University of South Carolina studying retail
Gamecocks.
merchandising. Go Gamecocks. And she will be home this weekend again, which is fun.
Cool.
And then my son, Garrison Gray, is at the Academic Magnet High School.
Nice.
Ooh.
He's a senior there, and he will be also at South Carolina and the Darla Moore School this fall.
Awesome. That's where I want my kid to go.
Congrats.
She's 9, but that's what we're pushing.
There you go.
Just right
Yeah.
down the street, 2 hours from mommy.
Right.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah. So I think they've made great choices.
Yeah,
We're
good school.
excited.
It's a really good school.
That's amazing. So let's go back to old young Stanfield. I say young Stanfield. When was your aha moment that you wanted to get into tech? Because it feels like you literally dove in and surrounded yourself with this.
Great question. So, wow, there's so many pieces of this story. Basically, growing up in Spartanburg and then going to the University of South Carolina myself, I was one of the very first classes to even have email, but no one used it,
Right.
because nobody was on it.
I graduated. I'll be the first. I graduated high school in '97. Right.
Yeah.
College started in '98. Graduated college in 2001.
Right.
So kind of in the same
time period.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Stephanie, you're ish, right?
I'm a
Ish.
couple years younger than
Couple
you.
years, okay,
Just a
right.
couple, though.
Just
Just a couple.
yeah.
and I was very passionate about music, which is how I wound up at Spin Magazine. I was
Oh, sure.
playing in bands and doing all that sort of
you
thing.
just brought me back. I love Spin Magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in my mind, technology was how we recorded and what was very interesting about music. So the evolution of, Pro Tools.
Yeah.
I had a 4-track recorder. I think it was a Tascam or something when I
Nice.
was younger.
The days of Napster.
And Napster.
And the Napster.
So that was a critical piece.
Oh,
so
yay,
when I
Napster.
went to grad school at Ole Miss, I got a job with Sweet Tea Recording Studio, a day job, and with Dennis Herring, a fantastic producer. He produced Counting Crows, Modest Mouse, Buddy Guy, a bunch of great artists.
it.
And I worked for his studio, just kind of managing the books, bringing people in and out. I was not an engineer, but he let me, play with the stuff.
Where is this again?
It was in Oxford, Mississippi.
Cool.
Mississippi.
Yeah, and that was at the exact same time that Napster
Right.
Sure.
was a thing. And so I, when they were out of town, we were all ripping files and, and
I definitely ruined my college. computer with
Napster just sold. Napster just sold again for $270 million. Did you hear that?
Who's still on Napster? That's impressive.
Oh, it was just on the Morning Brew podcast that I listen to. They do a really good job. I don't know if you guys are into Morning Brew.
Okay.
Yeah. Great podcast.
Yeah. But I'm like, Napster? Why is people
That's still
Napster?
that's wild.
They're turning it into more of a 3D meta experience where you can go watch concerts and shows on the virtual.
That's
on the
neat.
meta.
I hope they don't
Nice.
completely rebrand because I like their logo.
Oh my gosh.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So that's amazing. Okay, so you were in, what brought you into the tech business was music.
Yeah. So a good friend of mine, Russell Tillett, moved to San Francisco when I moved to Oxford, roughly the same time. And he got a job with, you guys remember the song, She Blinded Me with Science?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So Thomas Dolby took that money and rolled it into technology
Smart
to a
move.
company that made
for him.
ringtones for Nokia.
Oh,
And many other
ringtones. Man, I feel it old and I'm loving
Right.
it.
So Russell became a developer for
The interns are bored.
engineer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Engineer
Interns are
for-
bored right now.
for She Blinded Me with-
She's like,
for
have
Thomas
a
Dolby.
college. Yeah.
And then this is around 2000. I was going to move out there, but Sonny had launched a business that was doing well and franchised it to multiple cities.
Okay.
And and I got an interview that was going to be, going to meet the guys at beatnik.com where Russell worked, and a couple of other interviews. And then the .com crash happened, the first one.
Yes.
And some guy from South Carolina with no resume in tech was not going to get hired
Right,
as the sky was falling at the time. And so I thought, well, I'll go back out in a few years. And so I remained in Charleston, gratefully love Charleston. But it was difficult at the time. It was very much a BYOJ or bring your own job kind of city.
Yes,
You
it
know?
still is, to be honest.
It is. But I fortunately got a job first with the city, then with the College of Charleston. In that role, I was kind of the MacGyver of the institution. Any project that nobody could figure out who it should go to.
Because this is circa.
This is 2003
Yeah, early
to
2000s.
2007, 8.
Yes.
That's,
Love it. Yes.
That's a good
So
time.
this is a great time in technology too, because Facebook launches like 2005 or so. I had a .edu, which was because I was an employee, so that was interesting.
Okay.
And so we started experimenting, and then believe it or not, I had a Newton, Apple's first failed smartphone device.
Newton.
Yeah, and then a couple of other. I can't
I don't
remember what
know
the other
that
device was.
That guy.
And so then you know, cloud computing is very nascent.
Yeah.
It's emerging.
Yeah.
But the Apple Store launches in 2007, 2008.
Okay.
And then it's open to outside developers. So I had some friends that were web developers, and they were experimenting in VR and a little bit of AR. And so I brought them in, and we launched the first mobile app for the College of Charleston. And it was a walking tour app. And I led that project, and I was like, this is excellent, really fun, you know,
yeah,
super cool. And then the college, you know, launched many other apps and did other things in technology. My role was not a technologist for the institution. It was more in content and marketing.
Oh, okay.
And that side, but you know, this project fell in my lap. And out of that, they sent me to the Ad Age Digital Conference in New York,
yes,
which in 2011, which blew my mind and it was obvious all of this was coming to the Southeast eventually. It was already happening in, you know,
just like the
Silicon
people.
Valley, New York. Yeah, right. Just like the people. And so that is really the aha moment. I'd always loved technology. Let me clarify. I don't draw a distinction between the technology and the creativity and the content like some people do.
Okay.
You know,
it all works in tandem.
Yeah, like I don't think the tech would have been built, or a lot of it wouldn't exist. You wouldn't have Spotify if there wasn't great music to distribute via the platform.
The need.
I love that you have that distinction, because a lot of people look at like a kind of in silos, and I'm a big believer that where like I market through Spotify and that kind of thing, it's just as important to go in the back end and look at the analytics and make tweaks as it is to put out excellent music that people want to listen to.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't look at it that way. They're like, their music first. I'm like, no, it's all of it's got to work together, or you're not going to be a success.
Yeah. So it's very helpful just to knock down those walls, or assume that they don't exist.
Right.
Because they really don't.
You better learn it if you're putting your stuff on those platforms, you better become immersed within everything, because the capabilities in the back end are really cool. Even when we look at our analytics for the podcast, it helps like gear with our speakers and that kind of thing. It's neat. It's really neat.
Sometimes I'll meet a person and they'll ask me why they should come to Dig South. And they'll say, I don't work in technology. And I'll say, oh, okay, well, let's talk about what you do every day. Do you have a laptop? Yes. Do you have a smartphone? Yes. Are you using a CRM? Yes. Are you using a CMS and WordPress? Yes. And then like, every question is yes. And I'm like, you work in technology.
You're perfect
You might call the career something else, but every single thing powering and enabling your job is a tech platform.
Right. I love that. I love that you're not just going after people currently in tech. You're looking at small business owners, that kind of thing. Everyone's invited.
Yes. Yeah. We Kat Warner from Warner Strategies is doing a panel for us at the Tech After Dark event that is very much about like that. Don't know anything about tech? Well, then that's why you should be here.
Right.
You know, she's going to go through some fun things with some influencers and some other, you know, folks who work in technology to kind of say why you should be paying attention, especially with AI. You know, there's kind of two camps. So the camp that's terrified of it, thinks it's going to wipe everything, and the other camp that's all in 100%. Boom, let's do it. I'm in that camp,
right?
Because I've seen it happen again. You know, so my very first startup, I skipped this part.
Oh yeah.
I left the city, and for 6 months.
City of Oxford.
No, sorry. I left the Office of Cultural Affairs with the City of Charleston.
Oh yes. Okay.
In 2001, I think.
And you were marketing
or two.
For that.
I was doing operations.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I left to launch a startup. My first one with another friend, and we were building web templates, just websites.
Sure.
And we had this thing we thought we were so genius called a digicard, where we would videotape you and embed it on those little mini discs.
I love the mini discs. This must be 2010.
A little tiny
2009.
No, this was early. They weren't even round. They had a little slit there. I can't remember what they were called, but they were about the size.
I feel like you were on the forefront of all the
CD-ROM?
technology, and we might not have been exposed to any of these cool things that you had access to.
Well, there was no YouTube and there was no LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So we were so far ahead. There was no way to distribute this thing, but we thought this is going to be everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we
Business
sold like 3 of them. Yeah, so we'd shoot a video of you. We'd embed it on and print your name, so that would be your business card.
Yes.
But hardly anybody had the player.
Yeah,
Right.
that's tough.
Right.
That's tough.
And you had to go to a desktop, and maybe you had the player. And then the websites, this is hilarious. So we went up and down King Street pitching to every possible business why they needed a website. And people would say that nobody needs a website. They read the city paper.
Oh,
there was no mobile phone.
Oh, have times changed.
Yeah, and Wi-Fi, didn't even come out until like 1999. So really, people with laptops really didn't have it. The bandwidth was terrible. And so it was hilarious. Everybody would say, tourists don't look at websites. Nobody needs that. And we were just beating our heads in because we were like, oh my God, if we lived in San Francisco, we'd be selling 10,000.
Yeah.
But it was, it was obvious it was coming this way.
What was, who bought in on who was the first buy-in? Do you remember?
Oh, wow. Who's the first buy-in?
Put you on the spot there.
Great.
Do you remember that
well,
first?
okay, so
because you must have been really excited about that.
So the very first client, thanks to my contacts with the city, was the city, because I don't know if anybody remembers this, but when the Hunley, there was this battle between 3 different municipalities on who was going to get the Hunley Museum. Was it going to be at Patriots Point? Was it going to be downtown, which is where the IM is now? Or was it going to be at North Charleston? So each municipality made a pitch, and we shot the video for that, embedded it on the card, and made a little website for that pitch.
There you go.
Does it still exist? That would be amazing.
I have no idea.
Website?
It's probably in some storage bin, jammed in, somewhere in the closet. I don't know.
I love being like this age group that we're all in because we've experienced like the AOL Messenger days, and now we're like
even
not me,
Stone Age almost like days.
No,
and then I was
Speak
giving
for
blood.
yourself. No,
I was giving blood the other day, and I'm the girl's next to me. And I'm writing 1978 on the information there, and I'm like, why do I feel antique when I write 1978?
Because we are, baby. We are.
Yeah.
We are.
I should be worth more.
I feel like we have, historical knowledge that we bring to the table for our business and for other businesses, because I can speak eloquently, hopefully, to like a 20-something, just like I can a 70-year-old who's like, I hate this. I run this shop. I hate technology. I need you to come in here and do all of it for me. I'm like, I got this for you. But I think it's fun that you have that perspective, because you probably take all of that with you. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to be a keynote on one of your speeches one day.
Well, thank you.
Just attend in the audience.
I never feel like I'm caught up, though. Every single day.
Isn't that what's fun about technology, though?
It is. Yeah.
And marketing, for that matter.
That's the best part, really. Not knowing, seeing what's coming. I mean, there's a famous quote, the future has arrived, but it's not evenly distributed.
Yeah.
And so once it's distributed, everybody's like, oh, of course we use this. Of course I have a mobile phone, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But until it has,
right.
You're not sure. Is this a thing? Is it going to fly? Well,
right.
Literally, do I have a flying car yet?
Yeah,
right.
No, it's coming.
It's coming.
We're all waiting on it. I'm waiting. The Barrow family is waiting on it.
All right. So with all you got going on, Stanfield, what do you do to give, for fun? Like, you have to have some kind of...
For fun. Right. So I play in a rock band called...
What?
No, you don't.
I do.
All of me knew something musical was coming. I could feel it.
Gosh, she almost exploded just now.
I'm excited.
So it's called the Speed of Sound, or SOS. And so it's a bunch of old dads and moms.
Yes.
And we just have.
Where do you play? I want to play.
Where do you play?
We've been playing at Lo-Fi Brewing.
Okay, that's a great spot. Yeah.
And we've played Container Bar and Mainland Container. Excuse me, always mix up those two.
Okay.
And then we've played Holy City Brewing, a couple of private parties there.
That's awesome. Do you have like a Facebook page, Instagram page?
We have an Instagram page,
yep.
speedofsound.band.
Speedofsound.band, listeners. Look it up.
Yeah, so it's
I don't know when
60s.
you sleep.
Where's Lo-Fi?
Lo-Fi is
across
almost on the line of North Charleston and Charleston.
Yeah, okay, I think I've been there.
Up the neck, Meeting Street Extension.
Yep.
King Street. Which one is it?
It's kind of where we used to go to your tradesman.
Right on the water, right?
Isn't your tradesman brewery, kind of?
North of that.
Yeah.
You keep going north like you're driving to Park Circle on Main Street Extension.
Past Beve Bene, rest in peace.
Yes. Yeah, and it's almost underneath the overpass, very close to 26.
I got to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I love it.
My gosh. My last question, and Stephanie, you can obviously have more questions too, but with all the other stuff you got going on, the rock band, it's really cool, right? How do you, and then that's a whole other job too, bud. Oh my gosh, you got to book.
Yeah.
Now, are you on Spotify?
We are not. We are on SoundCloud.
Okay, I love SoundCloud. Yeah,
sure.
it's great.
Yeah,
so what are you doing as far as like do you have an intern? Do you have an assistant? Like, how are you
making it all happen?
Prioritizing.
Right. So I live in kind of the world of fractional experts, I would say. So
the whole fractional thing is really cool.
Yeah, and so as we ramp up a project, we have a large base of people that are very talented that we can call upon. and to execute on that. And recently I read the book Who Not How. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
Okay, writing that down. Hold on.
Dan Sullivan there.
Who Not How.
Who Not How.
Yep, I haven't read it yet, but I have it.
It's very short, easy to read and digest.
Big letters.
Yeah, but it's big letters. Yeah, for the old guys like us, really big type. And the gist of it, it's really simple, but it's important to remind yourself. It's like every time you say, "Oh, how am I going to get this done?" You really should say, "Who can do this?
I love that.
Who can do it better than me? Who can do it faster?" Because I have a tendency, like a lot of people, to feel like I need to do it all myself.
Yeah.
And you cannot scale doing it all yourself.
Amen.
No.
It's impossible.
Amen.
And so I'm really trying to absorb that book as my new little mini Bible of Who Not How.
I can't wait to get that on my hands on that book. I'm
gonna buy a ticket to Dig South because
Yes.
I feel like
Thank you.
I remember now going a couple of years ago with my old company that I used to work with, Trio Solutions, who's also in Harvard.
Trio's
Yep.
fantastic.
And we went and I learned a lot, but the whole AI thing, like I'm embracing it. I use it for, Grammarly, sometimes copywriting, checking my grammar, making sure I'm not saying incredible too many times.
Perfect,
but
great.
There's so much perfect.
Awesome.
He knows. I just
Awesome.
all the exuberant adjectives. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm horrible about talking, and that's the way I speak. So that's the way I write.
You guys are doing an amazing podcast. You're
Look at
flowing.
that. Yeah,
Hey!
exactly.
I mean, the podcast.
I think
is
you're
a good
selling
time.
yourself short because
Oh,
I'm
you're
hearing
dull.
like
Yeah.
clear
You're dull.
articulation over there.
Thank you. It's a labor of love. We've 3 years in almost.
Hey, if we didn't pick on you, then we didn't like you.
I know,
You know what I
I know.
mean?
But I'm excited because I think I'm going to learn a lot and I'm going to leave inspired. And I think a lot of that is even if you have this knowledge, having it reiterated in your brain is like an important part of my process for creativity. It's like I want to be around people who inspire me to come home and do great things.
Right.
So, especially because I'm a solopreneur. So I'm excited to attend. I am coming and I have the dates and we're going to have an AMA event there.
I love it. That really is the fuel that excites me the most is other people getting inspired.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you a recent story. My friend Kevin Harrison called me up, and he's a partner. He's an artist, amazing guy. He's a partner in a company called Gentlemen Smugglers.
Cool.
Another cool name.
Yeah.
You have to have them on this podcast.
Gentlemen Smugglers.
And so this is a legendary story that goes back to the 70s. The founder of Gentlemen Smugglers was a smuggler. And it was the largest pot dealer at the time on the East Coast.
Okay.
He was caught up in, I think, Operation Lost Trust, or I can't remember what the name of the big sting was. But anyway, he out of that, after serving his time and getting out, and he formed this company once cannabis started becoming legalized and THC and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And these are very smart guys, and they're doing it, ethically and smartly, and they grew a company out of this. But Kevin attended Dig South, was blown away by several of the speakers, and said that day he's like, I am starting a company, and
Right.
it's going to be this is what it's going to look like.
That's all
And he
about.
went and met these guys and did it.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm envisioning the logo, and it's like very good fellas.
It is very
It is. Score.
very
I'm like, oh,
yes,
the
yeah.
Fedora hat.
And they'll be at Dig South
Fedora
as
hat.
well, so they're
That
on,
is
on a
awesome.
panel.
I would feel remiss if I didn't ask this one last question I'm coming up with.
Sure.
I don't
Ask away.
make it up on the top
I
of my
love
head.
him.
But this
We go
you're
with
you're the guy. So like us, like me, you remember the time before all the digital stuff, right? Like I have 9-year-olds now, and the whole digital age is huge and very scary.
Yes.
Right? As a parent,
I will tell
putting
you,
a parent
just
hat on.
to interject real quick,
Please, yeah.
with the CCSD, the computers now, Canva and CapCut and all the tools that I'm using to make my business thrive,
Yeah.
my 9-year-olds are using it. It is embedded in the CCSD software now.
Interesting. Interesting.
It is.
Oh yeah.
That's cool
It's
on the
cool.
education
It's
side of
cool.
things,
It's
right?
neat. Like,
well, my
awesome.
question to Stanfield, because you've raised kids too,
Yes.
while all this was coming up new and fresh with everybody. How did you navigate as a parent limiting your kids? You know what I
Love
mean?
this
Or
question.
managing it. I don't want to say
Yeah.
limiting, but managing it. I'm about to read a book called Digital Detox,
Yep.
Yep.
and it's like a 2-week detox of
Yep.
I know.
Nintendo Switch and YouTube.
Roblox is
For
a
my
big
kids.
problem in
Roblox.
my
Yeah.
life. Dress to Impress. Like I just bought the Bark app
What now?
The Bark app.
Okay.
So the founder of Bark was a speaker at Dig South.
Really?
She actually.
That's cool.
Yeah, Tanya. She actually emceed our wild pitch.
Really?
Twice. Yeah.
No, I'm fascinated with it. I just signed up. I'm putting my girls. They don't have phones yet. They're 9 and 10. We're not doing that. But we have iPads.
Yeah.
The Roblox thing is like a real problem in our house.
We don't do Roblox.
Because now, number one, I play with them. So I have my own. I'm very high ranked on Dress to Impress. You're welcome. But no, I got Bark because I was tired of it feeling like it was almost altering my specifically not for my stepdaughter, but for my daughter, her personality, because she's so competitive by nature. Like she just wants to be the best at everything. That's including a Roblox. And Bark, you can put you can say 2 hours tops on Saturday instead of when she goes to her father's and then she's playing for 8 hours.
All right.
Because it's like, it's just too much. It's too much. But Bark, that technology is very cool.
Is the dopamine, is that kind of translate?
It is
both?
a dopamine hit. Yeah, FOMO and you name it.
Yeah.
Pick your acronym, right?
Right.
And
the one thing that's cool about Roblox is that they can log in and play with their friends.
Okay.
So, it's kind of like Amelie is not into texting or anything like that, but she'll go into Roblox and she'll play with her friends from school. She'll play with her sister who lives in Georgia.
Sure.
And so it's like a community that they're building, but you get really addicted to playing it because not only the community aspects, but just being behind the screen and being good at it and ranking higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son was really into Minecraft and then NBA 2K. And what was cool was he had a lot of friends through his cousin in Atlanta, and they maintained that friendship, especially during the pandemic, through those games.
Yes.
And they were like, and I would question them and look at it, make sure they weren't letting other people into the space that they didn't know. And they were strong about that. So that was good. But my wife and I do a good enough job with it? Probably not. I was really naive when Twitter said, "Oh, the Arab Spring came and we caused that. And look how great the world's going to be." And then Google's "Don't be evil" and Facebook, and then they all became these monopolies.
Yeah, it's too much.
It was it was very surprising to me, and not really the way I didn't know the internet was going to let trolls dominate the world.
Oh,
it's a real problem.
So, I believe the social media could stop it if they wanted to, and they choose not to because it generates eyeballs and clickbait and and money, ad revenue.
Don't even talk to me about Ticketmaster and the clickbait and bots and all the whole thing.
Yeah,
right.
It's horrible.
Right. So, but you
just got to dig it. You got to do it. You just got to do what your gut tells you.
And there's a lot of parameters now as a parent that you can put in place to protect your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you can be a dork like Stephanie and play Roblox beside them to make sure no creepers are.
No.
Because you would be surprised because Amelie will go on there and she'll be like, "Hey, mommy," and some random crazy person will be like, "Hey, I can be your daddy."
So that's the problem I had with Meta. That's the problem because we got a Meta Quest 3 for Christmas.
Yep.
And the kids got an hour head start.
Sure.
On it before I did. And then I got it on that night. And I'm like, "Oh, this is really cool." And they were like, "Oh, Daddy, we played Spin the Bottle."
You're like, "No."
Did I tell this story already on air? I go, "Oh my gosh, please tell me you didn't play."
No.
Like, what did you guys do? We were all in this room, and all of a sudden you get picked to play, and you spin the bottle, and whoever the bottle points at, you shoot them.
Nope.
Like for me to
shoot
them with a gun.
Mommy would be playing Dress to Impress.
I'm like, okay, well that's a little bit better than the kissing game that it was in my head.
Right, but even still.
But still, I'm like, no, we're not playing that game. And then you could hear everybody.
Yes.
So then they're having inappropriate conversations that I want my 9-year-old to have.
None of that.
It was probably another 10-year-old and then a 13. You don't know who these people are. So I had to figure out how to mute. You can mute all of that. Mm-hmm. So,
but there's still chats depending on what you're part of. And so if my kid is playing, I'm taking an hour out of my day and I'm playing beside her.
You're legit. You would stop right then and there. You want to play, Amelie? I'm going to play with you right now. Let's play.
Yeah. I know it sounds like micromanagey or hovery or whatever, but Matthew's got an account too. Shout out to Matthew and his Roblox account. Sure. Oh, he does. He likes to be the pretty ladies. Have you Dressed to Impress is like you put on clothes and you change outfits and they give you themes.
Wasn't going to ask, but yes.
It's cool. It's very like appropriate for tween people, but some of the people that go on, obviously not appropriate.
Right, right.
The content itself is appropriate.
It's just making
I worry
parenting
about the other people.
all that harder, you know. And here I'm bitching about that, right? It's a blessing to be a parent, but it's just this whole digital age is making it.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a latchkey kid. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, just come back when it gets
The
dark.
lights come out, and that's how I'm trying to have the boys too.
Right.
But there's this.
But there weren't a million creepers that could find me.
Yeah.
You know?
We were playing Sega, you know, and Contra, and like, you know, like those type of shoot 'em up games, you know, like, I don't know. Anyhow, thanks for your time, Stanfield.
Thank you, Mike.
Stephanie, do you have anything else that you wanted to close up
No,
with?
I will sincerely buy tickets to Dig South. I'm excited to attend, and I'm excited to collaborate on some kind of efforts with AMA for us to have like a coffee talk or something. That'd be great.
We'll get Margaret on board. We'll get the
Yeah.
team with some ideas. I'll get you on an email.
Well, Dig South has an incredible amount of support from over a dozen organizations that are on that charlestontechweek.org app, a ton of our partners and sponsors, and it really is just a labor of love to help this community scale and grow very cool tech companies.
That's amazing. I love that. That's what we are doing here. The labor of love, just trying to scale our marketing companies.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
Our marketing community. And so I think that there's a definitely symbiotic way that we want to help every year. So just sign us up every year that I'm involved with AMA.
Yep.
Again, Stanfield, you're the man. Appreciate you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yet you came here and talked to us for 45 minutes to an hour.
No.
Really
Well,
appreciate it.
I loved it. My pleasure. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Stephanie.
Before we leave, we need to say thanks to our sponsors, Charleston Media Solutions. Whoop, whoop. Jerry Feels Good, the DJ.
Yep.
Oh, that guy. And, of course, the American Marketing Association. If you want to sponsor or be a guest on the show, reach out to podcast@charlestonama.org, and we'll get back to you. Stanfield, is there a LinkedIn, or is there how do we get a hold of you? Is there a Dig South email you can give out?
Info@digsouth.com.
Info@digsouth.com.
Easy to remember.
And then, digsouth.com.
If
you want.
I'll get it.
All
I'll
the
see
handles. Love it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Thank you for being with us, Charleston. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.